When we look at history, our minds default to the battlefield. We see the timeline as a top-down progression of kings and brute military conquest. But if you step back, that model starts to look incomplete. How did these ancient societies actually function across thousands of miles, centuries before mass communication or modern infrastructure? To find the real mechanics of power, we have to look past the front lines. We need to examine history across 4 distinct scales, zooming all the way from the expanse of the global oceans down to the firing neurons of the human brain. Because while civilization was certainly fought over with swords, it was engineered through hidden methods of control and deeply personal acts of resistance. We start at the macro level, the geographic chessboard. For empires like Athens and Carthage, the Mediterranean Sea was the ultimate arena. Dominance here meant controlling the movement of grain, gold, and information. The precision-engineered hardware that made this dominance possible was the trireme. This oar-powered warship was built for speed, designed to slice through the water and deliver a bronze-tipped ram into the side of an enemy hull. Rome entered the sea as an underdog. To compete, Rome developed the corvus, a spiked bridge dropping onto enemy decks, turning naval battles into infantry brawls. Neutralizing Carthage's advantage allowed Roman fleets to blockade trade routes and isolate rivals from supplies in Iberia and Africa. Sinking a fleet was only the first step. The real goal was a total monopoly on the movement of global trade and cultural exchange. If we zoom in from the oceans to the borders of the state, the tools of power shift from timber to administration. This was the scale mastered by Cyrus the Great of Persia. Cyrus inherited a problem common to all conquerors. He ruled a vast, incredibly diverse population. Ruling them through fear alone would have triggered endless, expensive rebellions. His solution was state-sponsored tolerance. He kept local religions and customs intact and allowed regional leaders to remain in power under a decentralized satrapy system. This clay cylinder provides the physical proof of his policy. Inscribed in Akkadian Timaeus, it records Cyrus's decree to repatriate displaced peoples, including the Jewish exiles in Babylon, and his orders to restore their local temples. This wasn't a policy of modern idealism, it was a calculated technology of control. By protecting the identity of his subjects, Cyrus turned potential rebels into loyal citizens. Zooming further inward, we reach the level of the individual on the street. To enforce hierarchy in daily life, empires turned the human body into a visible record of status. Consider the Roman Flavian tower style. This hair was an architectural monument to the wearer's wealth. It required hours of labor from enslaved servants, signaling both extreme status and direct allegiance to the styles of the empress. In Japan, the samurai's chanmog, or topknot, served as a rigid cultural contract. It broadcasted the wearer's status as a warrior and his submission to the code of Bushido. Cutting it off signaled a total loss of honor. But because hair was so visible, it also became a tool for subversion. Oppressed groups learned to use their own bodies to hide information and preserve forbidden identities. Enslaved Africans, for instance, used intricate cornrow patterns as hidden maps for escape routes and as vessels for preserving ancestral cultures that their captors tried to erase. By turning the scalp into a public record of allegiance or a secret guide to freedom, these societies made hair a primary tool for navigating their social landscape. Our final scale moves inward, shifting from the physical borders of the state to the chemistry of the human mind. For a medieval peasant, the physical world was often a prison of poverty and feudal labor. With no way to change their social reality, some turned to the natural world to exert the only control they had left, altering their own perception. Healers and cunning folk utilized toxic botanicals like the mandrake root, seen here in this manuscript drawing. While folklore claimed the root would scream when pulled from the earth, actual practice utilized its biological potency for pain relief and spiritual visions. These plants contained powerful alkaloids that induced hallucinations by directly disrupting neurotransmitters in the brain, essentially overriding the user's biological reality. For those trapped in a cycle of labor and taxes, these dangerous botanical trips offered a rare temporary exit from the rigid physical and social structures of the Middle Ages. From the expanse of the Mediterranean to the firing of a neuron, history has never been a simple top-down hierarchy. It is a multi-dimensional web negotiated every single day. Dominance was exerted in ships we built, enforced by laws we drafted, signaled by hair we styled, and internalized through substances we consumed. History is profoundly human, and the same mechanics of dominance and expression that drove the ancients are the very same forces shaping our reality today.